Hello, my name is Joseph Abraham, and welcome to my fourth screencast for CST-239. In this video, I will showcase the latest improvements to my storefront application, including JSON file handling and inventory management, and enhancements to the initialize store method. Previously, products in the storefront were hard-coded into the inventory this way, which I always thought was weird. If you watch the previous videos, I was always like, this is kind of a weird way to do it. So finally, I have implemented two new classes that will both create a JSON file to hold this information and load it once it's already been created. Now, I didn't take the next step yet to add a save feature for when we need to update the inventory, but the directions didn't really go into that or mention that selectively, so I felt pretty confident about getting to this point right now. And maybe for the seventh, I'll add a feature where you can save, or a feature where you can update, or maybe even another JSON file where you will save your orders or save your card or something like that. But right now, all it really does is create the JSON and then load the JSON. So I'll get more into the code, but right now I just want to show you it in action because you don't really see much when you do it. So first off, you see I have a new message here. Welcome friend, your data inventory.json. It's basically saying like, welcome friend, you created a new one. That's specific in that it's saying welcome friend because that means the data has already been created. If the data has not been created, it will say welcome stranger. Let me show you that real quick. So if I go here and I go to refresh, where are you? And you'll see this inv.json, that's the inventory JSON file. If I delete it, yes, and then I play the application again, you can see it says welcome stranger, and then it says your inventory, your data is on the JSON. And as far as showing you the app, that's really all I have to show you because that's the only thing I changed. However, this is probably the most code I've created of any of the milestone assignments. So we're going to spend a little bit more time on that this time and a little bit less time on the actual demo. So let's get into the code. So first off, you load these two guys, create.json.createJSON file method from the createJSON class, right? And then and after that's done, you do a load JSON dot load inventory and inventory manager right afterwards. I'm assuming that Java is not asynchronous since it's pre-compiled. I've worked a lot with JavaScript, so usually in JavaScript we'd have to add like something to like stop it from loading before you load that in some form of logic or another. But for one of the handy things about Java, and I haven't found many, is that you don't really have to worry about things being asynchronous, which is kind of cool. So anyway, let's go ahead to this create JSON here. So this is a bit of a mess. Something I found out when you're using JRE11, which just for a reason I actually forgot to use, and eventually I'll figure out probably by the end of the project how to convert it back to JRE11. But if you were to do it in JR23, you wouldn't have to format it quite like this, but this is some string craziness that I figured out you have to do for JRE11, and I just went with it. Basically, this converts into, hold on real quick. It'll convert into, come on, why is my computer so slow? Refresh. So here's the JavaScript that's the JSON file that's created right here. And this is basically the string version of this, because this was an older version of Java, the 11, which is what we're supposed to be using. And it had to be formatted in this weird, funky way. And I had to go look it up and do it that way. So let's just go over what's going on in here real quick. First of all, we're grabbing all these Java IO exception. This is for the error. This is to import files, and this is to import directories. Okay, so public static void create JSON file. This is the method that we first call when we open up the initialize store method over here in the storefront. And then we create a file path. There is actually no directory. It's just the name. But if we were to move it around somewhere weird, we could do that with this. If file exists, so right here, we're checking to see if there's a file. And if there is a file, then it just says, welcome, friend, because you've been here before, right? So now you're a friend. So if you're a stranger, though, it'll say, okay, let's create all this JSON content here. So we're going to take this and then we're going to turn this into files to write, and we're going to put it right into that JSON content, which again is all this stuff. And then it's going to say your data is here. Pretty simple. Okay, so that's basically, we got the try and then the catch. The catch is just if there's an error. In the directions, it said not to do like a default message, but I included the default message in addition to my own custom message. I'm assuming that's okay, but just so you know, I do have my own message. I didn't just use the default error message. So let's go over to the load JSON here now. So here we got a whole bunch of imports. We're importing everything. And the reason for this is because we need all this information in order to create the, to pull the data into my game. So, and then all of these guys too, to handle files and directories and errors and stuff. So load JSON method. First thing we're doing here is we're loading the inventory manager, which I'm not going to open the inventory manager, but that's this guy over here, inventory manager. And then it's going to say if the files exist, you know, it'll not create the file. But the thing about this is I was using this more for testing at first, but now you can kind of delete it. It's not really doing anything, but maybe I'll delete it later. This is basically a safeguard saying that the file doesn't exist. I'm feeling pretty confident I can just delete that now because I don't need it. So, but just to show you the process of creating the code, when I was first making this one, because I made the load JSON first, I needed that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create this string. And it's basically, I don't want to go too much into details because we don't have too much time, but I'm basically creating the string in the way it's displayed in the app. This one is different in the sense that it has multiple methods. It's got the load inventory, the extract value, the safe parse int, and the safe parse double. So basically this parses the price, this parses the quantities for inventory, and then we got this extract value. This is basically pulling the key index out of the JSON file and making it useful for us. It seems to be working pretty good. All of this is just like a big for loop. It's a pretty hefty for loop. And again, like I was saying before, it just builds the string. I think I've covered the code enough. I think you get the basic idea. Let's go ahead and go over to the Java diagram. So this is basically exactly the same as last time. The only major change is that I added these two guys, which come from the storefront. So I would do an initialize store up here. How did I miss that? That's crazy. So minus initialize store display menu. Yeah, that's it. Void. Right. Yeah. I think that's right. Okay. So again, the only thing that's changed is when you hit this initialize store, it grabs first the create JSON here, and then the load JSON. And then that goes back into the inventory manager to make sure that it's got everything it needs. And then it goes right back to the storefront. That's pretty much it. That's all I added. The flowchart is exactly the same because all of the changes I made are totally in the back end. They don't really change the user experience. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and edit this video quick and I will start working on topic number 5. Okay, thank you very much for watching the video. Goodbye.